Happy Tuesday, everybody. Here we are coming live again and For the Love of Dragons. Araya Unra here, and so much going on in the world and energetically. I've had so many great questions and so much new information coming. We had our Lair gathering yesterday, which is my monthly gathering with all those that have completed the Dragonheart program. And I think I talked for an hour and a half straight on just all the new information that's been coming in since our January gathering. So in 3 to 4 weeks' time, phenomenal amounts, because we are shifting and changing, and things are shifting and changing so rapidly. And if you pay attention to the world game, you might be very much in your spiritual realm and sort of tuned out to the world. But if you've been paying attention to the world game and you realize that everything is mirroring, so on every level, you're going to start seeing, if there's a lot happening in this realm, that means there's a lot happening in this realm, and vice versa, which also means there's a lot happening in your body realm, in your spirit realm, in your energy bodies, your emotional bodies. So exciting times, super exciting times that we're in right now. History is being written. Things are changing on a massive global scale. So I'm excited that we're in it. I'm excited that even though all these shifts are happening and I feel many days like I have no memory left, I'm more in the fifth dimension than the third dimension, and so there's this different anchoring or different ability to tap into and use more of our brain space. But it's interesting because as you tap into and have that, you feel less grounded or anchored or stable in the way that our brain and our mind has worked. So it's very interesting to be in that shift. I will say I'm very excited that in this 3D reality, I remembered to put my microphone on today for you guys, because for some reason I've always done it without, and in the last 6-8 months I keep getting feedback here and there when for some reason the sound is really poor or low for some reason on different devices. So I remembered my microphone, and we're going to go into a great question today. I'm excited about this question. I got it by email last week, and I thought, that's one that we really want to have everybody aware of, because it's a big one for people. And it's something that no matter how far along you are in your journey, there are moments when this doubt, this questioning comes in. And so I'll just read the question verbatim because it was fantastic. And I want to make sure I get it all. So the question came in, it says, how do I know it's real, the experiences I'm having, versus really wanting this experience to be? So this is someone that went in and was having a conversation before some body work. I think it was a Reiki session they were receiving. And then they had all the experiences because they were discussing dragons before the session, and then all this energy was flowing and happening, and there were experiences, and the dragons were there. And so she walked away from that wondering, is it part of me that wants to find community, or my path forward, etc.? Or are they really real? Like, why would that happen right after that conversation? And so it's interesting to look at a couple different aspects of that. And I know that the doubt that creeps in is going to be specific to you as you're listening to this or catching it on the playback. But you're going to recognize those moments where you have questioned, is this my imagination? Am I going crazy? How can this be real? This is so way out. Oh, we were just talking about that. No wonder it was in my field, and that's why it showed up, and someone else picked up on it, or we wanted it to be so. So I've got a couple different things for you to look at here to justify within yourself, to find that confidence and that knowing within yourself that what you're experiencing is real, that it is valid, and that you're not the only one that's not only experiencing those things, but you're not the only one also having doubt at times, because that's our nature as humans, to be forgetful, stuck sort of behind a curtain of possibility of what is really available in the universe. So when something so maybe outlandish or outrageous or seemingly different than the standard or the norm comes in, we start to doubt ourselves. And we've just been trained to do that. We've been trained to stay in the box, accept this is reality. We tell you this is what's real, that this is what's possible, and so that's all it can be. And so this is where you start stretching out of that. You start stretching and going, whoa, okay. So let's look first at, maybe you're having a conversation like she had been right before you're going into a session. So why did that conversation happen? Is it the precursor to, or is it because the energy is already in your field? Excuse me, my voice is wanting to go on holiday. is it because it's already in your field that that is in your emotional and mental bodies already, and so that's what you start discussing? Or is it that you start discussing it and it becomes in your field? It's like the chicken or the egg, which is first. I would say it's both, and that's a really interesting thing about the truths of the universe. The closer we're getting to reality as it truly is, beyond the three-dimensional playing field, we're starting to understand the laws of paradox within the universe, and I think I touched on that a little bit in the last week or two. But that's the first thing to look at. The second thing is to realize when you have an experience, so say you do a guided meditation, or you have this experience where all of a sudden you feel a dragon show up, maybe you dream about it, or it's in meditation, you're not sure why. If it's something, and it doesn't matter if it's dragons or unicorns or fairies or tree spirits, anything from the Devic kingdom, there's a couple of things here to pay attention to. If it is something that you would never expect, especially in a meditation, when you say go in a guided meditation and there's a question that gets put out into the energetic sphere that you're sitting in, and an answer comes in and you have this absolute knowing in your body, or this sensation of, wow, that's dragon energy in front of me. I don't really know what that is, I don't know what to do with it, but I recognize it as dragon energy. How do you even recognize that? I remember the first time I experienced dragon energy, and it was when I was working with people doing energy healing, sort of like Reiki, and I started to experience wings and tails and things, and I was like, wait a minute. But I knew intuitively, my whole body knew that's dragon energy. How did I know that? We have in our linguistic capacity, and this was my field, I was in linguistics as a college degree, and in the way we process language and sound, and attribute, say, tree has these characteristics. It has branches, it has leaves, it has roots, it has a trunk. It can be this size or this size. It has these parameters. So we put all that in our little index definition card in our brain somewhere of, okay, if this is on, this is on, this is off. The characteristics say, well, that's a tree, not a bush, or it's a bush, not a tree. So we do that with all these parameters, and that's how we learn language, and we categorize it into our system to recognize, oh, that's a bird, oh, that's a car, oh, that's jealousy, that's love, that whatever it is, doesn't have to be an object, can be an emotion or a sensation. So when you have that, you automatically already know from everything in your upbringing, maybe it was because of stories as a child, what indicates dragon. So even if it's not directly in front of you, there's an energetic presence that you're recognizing as dragon in your experience. So if you're experiencing something and it's not what you expect, and this happens a lot in meditations, you will get an answer to a question, you'll have something come in that sort of goes, wait a minute, I was not expecting that to come. That's when you know it's real. For certain, that's one of the certitudes. There will be other information that you might question later, but if you look back on the first level of experience, when it's something that you don't expect, you can pretty much guarantee, I didn't make that up. And if it was a very deep part of my subconscious making it up, then there's a reason that it's being made up. There's a reason it's being brought into your field. So that brings me to the other piece. To pay attention to, what if it was all imaginary? What if you are making it all up as you go, and dragons aren't real, and fairies and unicorns aren't real, and it's all only what we can see. There's nothing beyond, reality as we see it. There's nothing energetic out around us. We know that's not true because we have an energy body, right? You can actually do an experiment where, and I've done this with my kids, where you can stand behind someone and tell them to just tune in, feel their energy body. They may not know how to do that, but just set the intention. And then you will slowly bring your hand and have them tell you when they feel it. And they'll be shocked that it's literally usually about several inches from the body, because they're feeling you touch their energy body. So if something invisible in the energetic field is real, you can experience it with your own energy body in that little experiment. So let's say, just for argument's sake, that it's all imaginary. If something is made up or imaginary, it brings you joy, it brings you benefit, it facilitates healing or you moving forward in your journey, it facilitates expansion in some way, or facilitates you creating community or having friendships, or something that brings your heart an opening and more joy. Does it really matter if it's real 3D world sense because it's bringing you all those things. You are meant to be an individual and a creation that is here to experience joy. We are meant to be in joy all of the time. So if there's something that brings you joy, it doesn't really matter if you think you made it up or not. At some point, you will have that confirmation that it's real. And there's also, even in that, when you are trying to get into a deep state of meditation, you can actually start by imagining something that is the doorway in. Your imagination, because it's your childlike imagination that you came with, that was unfettered, it was unshut down, the childlike piece of you has that imagination. And if that is the doorway in, it opens up a world where all of a sudden things start happening where you're not in control of it, where you're not managing it. Imagination, you manage it. You stay in the playhouse and you play the games and you say, oh, you're doing this part and you're doing this part and here's my friends and we're pouring tea, or whatever childhood games maybe started the imagination. But when that's the doorway in, and it's a great tool, I used to teach meditation, it's a great tool to get in the doorway, because when you take something in your mind's eye and you manipulate it and you zoom in or you zoom out and you are using your imagination and your intention to do that, all of a sudden something takes over intuitively deeper inside the brain, and it will lead you through a doorway into a space where all of a sudden you don't have to control it. You are not imagining, and that's when things start to happen that you aren't expecting. And that's where it becomes real, because you realize, I'm not in control of this. There's something outside of myself that is bringing this in. So for me, the biggest thing is, whether or not you believe it's imaginary, go with that for right now and just keep having the experiences, or allowing them to come in with your heart open and your intention set to receive experiences. Because if they're bringing you joy, they're bringing you community, they're bringing you family, they're bringing you to a place where your heart opens bigger, you can chuck it all down the road. You can do a whole bunch of healing and you can have your heart massively open, and then have another realization down the road and go, you know, whether or not this is real, I don't need it anymore. I can set it on the shelf for now because it brought me to this point on my journey. And that's powerful. That's a tool. That's things that your guides put in front of you to get you further along your journey of opening. Because your whole journey as human is about cracking you open, where your heart becomes massive, transparent, open, and walking forward to embrace the world unconditionally. That is the love of God. That is the love of Christ that all of us has been created from, and that we're meant to portray, share, and expand in here in the realm that we exist within. That realm is currently shifting as well. We are expanding because so many are open to that, and we are allowing now a fifth dimensional expansion to open up. So another piece within this, as I said, I mentioned paradox as a universal principle that's starting to open up for us. There are many that we're starting to understand, and we're starting to move into a place where we are expanding and allowing more than 5% of our brain capacity that we've been limited to, and that's scientifically proven that we have only been using 5% or less. There are humans out there that are operating on 2% of their brain capacity. We are now starting to move beyond that, and that's why we have so much opening in here, and it's stretching, and sometimes it hurts, and it's like, wow. Those thoughts are really hard to bring in, and I feel like they're going over my head, but they percolate through at some point, and then they aha, and you click in. So allowing that. I'm just going to read a comment here. Hello, Willow. It's been a long time since I caught you live. Yes, fabulous to see you. I've been trying to be really consistent with Tuesdays, so it's a time slot that works better to get the European audience before they're in bed. So on that note, this other universal law that you really need to pay attention to is our intention is powerful. We are powerful creators. So if you believe it exists, it exists. Whether in this realm or another, if you believe it with your whole intention and heart and mind and body, it actually exists, or you actually just brought it into existence. Nothing can exist if you don't believe it is there. And this is a really big doorway that keeps people shut in. When they don't want to believe that there's life out beyond us, that they don't want to believe that there's other dimensions out beyond us, they don't want to believe that there's something after we cross the doorway of death, that limits their ability to actually have those things exist. If you believe it, it actually exists. So on the subject of dragons, if you allow it to come in whether it's imaginary, whether you just believe it with your heart, whether it's something out of left field and you're questioning and doubting. Walk through that. Allow the question, allow the doubt, allow yourself to be brought to the other side of that bridge, because you will have a foundation of knowing in your journey that will guide you forward into so many more openings, because you will have validated it within yourself. And I'll tell you honestly, that's a path I went through. Even after the book came through, even after I spent weeks in Glastonbury writing and bringing through and working with these beings that were presenting dragon energy, and they each had a different message, they each had a different way to work with them, they each had a different sensation and feel energetically, and I could sit and tune in and write out, and that's how the book was created. And if you guys haven't seen the book, we have a lot of new people in the group. This is the book I'm referencing. This is The Dragon Within. This is the beautiful hard copy. I know Willow's got one of these. Actually, that's interesting that you're on, because I don't know if I've ever brought the hard copy out. Maybe once when I first did it. All this beautiful full color in here. It's got artwork, it's got images, it's got the symbols within it for each one. Powerful tool. This is a go-to that I guarantee you, whatever format you get it in, whether it's an ebook PDF or a Kindle or a EPUB or a paperback or hardback, it's in 3 languages now, and it's being translated. So it's in English, French, and Spanish. It's being translated into Dutch as we speak. Very excited, because it's all over the world. It's in 43 different countries or more now, and this is a guidebook. It's not just a book to introduce you, it's actually a way to work with them. So this is the hands down thing that I say, you know what, if you're new to the group, you're new to dragons, you're new to diving into what is dragon energy, start there. Coralie, hello. We were just speaking about our European audience. I haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. Salut, salut. Use that tool. It's a guidebook to open. It's got history within it. It's got other parameters that are meant to trigger and open pieces of remembering within you. And then it actually gives you hands on, like, how do you work with the earth dragons? How do you work with the air dragons? What do they do? Who are they? Why are they there? Where are they? All of those questions are in there. And then we have tools and tools beyond that to, like, the book club we just started last week. Amazing powerhouse group. Oh my gosh. It's blowing doors. It's really blowing me away, the group that's come together. It's a nice small gathering. I think we had 6, we actually gained another, so we have 7 now. It's a really different, intimate little group, which I think is making it more powerful. It's like compressing inward. There's a lot of energy compressing inward right now. So that's another amazing tool to dive in, to really expand into and test your theories, test your questions, test your doubts. That's the most powerful thing you can do. As I was saying, even after I wrote the book, I went through a few years of, wait a minute, I need to push back on this. I've been getting all these different pieces in my journey. I need to sit with where they synthesize within me of feeling truth. Because you have to get to where you know the truth within yourself, and it will light up for you. I often do this. This is my full body tingle symbol of whether I'm talking and my body is going crazy because what I'm talking about is truth, or someone else is talking in one of my groups or classes, and I'm like, bing, bing, bing. Right on the money. There it is. That's your ticket home. That is what's telling you, like, pay attention to what the words are coming out of your mouth right now, or what is being said, because there is an alignment energetically that everything lights up when you're in that space of truth. So paying attention to that. And it's okay to set things on the table. It's okay to say, why I have this dragon experience. It's sort of freaking me out. I'm going to set it over here for a while, maybe with a 10-foot pole, and go, I'll come back to you when I'm ready. And I guarantee you, if you are meant to work with the dragons, if you have a dragon aspect within yourself you need to wake up to, whatever it is, the connection there, if it needs to be part of your journey, your guides will slide it back in. They will either bring another experience in, or maybe you have a dragon guide that will say, all right, I'm going to tiptoe around and bring it in a little more gently. Something will happen to bring it back in your field, and that will be another level of confirmation. Comes in twice, comes in 3 times. You better start paying attention. 3's a charm, right? If it keeps coming, you can put it at arm's length. Put it out. Say, you know what? I want you guys to prove it to me. I want to have confirmation. People that are diving into my programs do this all the time, especially when for the Dragonheart program, there's a big investment, energetically and financially. And it's because of the energetic exchange. So when they're sitting with that of, they go into fear or resistance. They know it's their path. Their heart is saying yes, and that's where I say, you have to listen to your heart. Every program I offer is about a heart call. I will never sell anyone on anything. Marketing doesn't work for the kind of energy work that I do. It is a heart call and a pulse that pulls you in, and you have a knowing within yourself, I need to do that. That's how every program feels. It's because there's a contract there. There's an energetic alignment that is saying, you're ready. Here you go. I have what you need. Your guides have brought you forward. Boom, boom, boom. Let's do the exchange. Let's put you in the field of where your expansion will happen. But it's okay to allow your guides to just keep pulling you in, keep pulling you in. They will bring it back around if it's meant to be. And if you need it to be imaginary, if you need it to be at a distance, it will come back around if it needs to be in your journey. I promise. So hopefully that made some sense and gave you some insight into, wow, am I making all this up? What's going on? How does this happen? How did this step in? Do I believe it? Do I move forward? It's okay to have all those and move through that process, but remember those pieces. If you believe it exists, it can exist. If you start with imagination, I guarantee it will lead forward. And even if it's imaginary, none of it's true. None of this spiritual expansion, 5D, all this stuff, what if none of it's true? No matter what, it made my life magical. My life is a wonder of magic on a regular daily basis. That was not happening before I opened to the dragons, before I opened to something beyond this third dimension, before I opened to angelic presences, before I opened to other masters and my heart and everything else. And even if all of it is made up as my psyche, my experience, hallelujah, so be it. Because if my life is magic, it's so much better than it was before, and I'll take magic over doldrums any day of the week, right? And then that last piece is, if you get things you're not expecting, you can pretty much bet it's real. You can pretty much bet it came from outside yourself into your field for a reason, and pay attention to that. So wishing you a fabulous week, lots to chew on there with all this talked about, and here we're saying 3 deep dragon breaths in and out. In any case, imagination is the door to your inner connection and other dimensions. And I'm trying to see who just wrote that, because yes, beautiful Coralie, good to see you. I'm waiting for you to be a full dragon heart there, Missy. All right, have a fabulous week. And you know what? Before we go, Valentine's Day is this weekend. And I just have to bring this one out because I got a full shipment of Andara pendants, Andara dragon pendants. This is the last one left, this beautiful, precious light pink. It's such an incredibly soft energy. But if you can have soft with the power of the Andaran dragons, oh my goodness. It's enriching, I think, is the energy. It just, it vibes out and beautiful. So I just wanted to share that, wanted to put it out for anyone. It is on the Lair site, so dragonwithin.com/lair, L-A-I-R. Takes you to there's over 150 dragon beauties, unique dragons, whether they're pendants, statues, stuffies, you name it, they're in there. That's my dragon collection, Wonderland, and they're there because I want to get a tool to you that is in your field, that has a transmission that I put in that is just for your expansion journey, specifically for you. Each one is coded, and I do that before I mail them out. A specific coded transmission just for you, for the expansion of your journey, for your next steps. So, wanted to bring that out because I know this pink one is meant for someone for Valentine's Day. It's just this beautiful, beautiful soft soul. So this matches somebody out there that's going to be on the replay or is on live right now. And he called out to me and said, show me today. Show me today. I'm the last one here. I need to go home. So maybe he's coming home to you. All right. Have a wonderful week, everybody. I love seeing you. I love connecting with my dragons. And we'll see you next Tuesday. Bye for now.